All right, girls. So I just have some questions for you because your organization, the Stars of New York Dance, is something that we should all know about. So here's my first question. Your event, and you have an event coming up. It's the 15th.
14th, Friday, November 14th.
Okay, so it's November 14th. Y'all go get your ticket. Okay, so your event is built on the belief that a child's dream can come true, particularly in the area of dance.
Yes.
What is the fundamental mindset shift that is required for a leader to move from simply wishing that things in the community were better to actually making that goal something that everybody feels a sense of accountability for? What's the fundamental mindset shift that needs to happen?
Well, one, I believe that people inherently love to do good. I know it. They love to do good. They love to have fun doing good. And supporting children is probably one of the easiest ways to do good and have fun. And so I am blessed that my calling is what it is. I have to say it wasn't my idea. It was my love for dance has always been there, but I think God started grooming me from age 7 or 8 into loving dance. But I didn't partake in it. I didn't ask for dance classes. But I was groomed for a long time, and all of the skills that I developed and all the things that I experienced helped me to develop a mindset that and an understanding that people love to do good. And if I can make it fun, then it works. And so the idea of it's sort of for me, it's a combination of humility, hope, and confidence.
Mm,
There's a humility that you have when you're asking people to do something that's sometimes that seems outrageous,
mm,
you know,
mhm,
um, that sometimes seems bigger than them or something that they wouldn't do. There is a level of confidence you have to ask.
mhm.
Community leaders who are, our local stars, our celebrities, if you will, and who do a lot. They have full schedules, they have families, they have constituents they answer to. They're already stacked, and so comes that hope that just sneaks in there that buttons the humility and the confidence up in a nice little pretty package with a little smile. And I I'm telling you, every year I'm excited and amazed at everyone who says, "Yes, I'll dance." I'm
Wow.
amazed. Yeah.
Yo, my name is Coach Cecily, and you're listening to another captivating conversation with your girl, Coach Cecily. I'm joined by a dear friend. She's my granny girl, and I'm her granny girl. And in fact, if you're a friend to her, you're a granny girl. Even if you're a male, you're a granny. I don't know. You got to ask her about it. But she is here talking about the key and critical sense that if a child has a dream, it's the community's responsibility. It should be something that we feel accountable for in terms of making that child's dream, particularly in the area of the arts, come true. And so that's what we're talking about tonight. So, Cheryl, again, thank you for joining me.
Of course.
My question about the Stars of New York Dance is celebrating, okay, so it's celebrating 15 years.
Yes.
What is the key mindset that allows a mission driven organization to sustain that level of resilience and vision over
Mm,
a decade and a half, especially when facing inevitable
mm.
setbacks and challenges? What is the key mindset that allows your mission driven organization to sustain its drive to help children in this sense?
I can say it's just love. It is
Mm,
totally, absolutely love. Love for children, love for community, and just love for the arts. I I can't tell you anything else. It is based off of a sincere love that I have for the calling that I've been given. I It really comes from I'm a personal witness. And so I learned to dance as an adult at church. I had experiences when I went to see Ailey as a teenager. When we had a talent show up at Syracuse, there was a young woman, while we were doing fashion shows and modeling. There was a woman who danced, and she danced a praise dance. She danced to gospel music. And I was taken aback. I've never seen anyone dance to gospel music. And I was like, what is that? Like, what did she just do? And it just sat in my chest. And I was like, I didn't know how to articulate how I felt, but I was so moved. Flash forward to like 5 or 6 years later, when I was at St. Paul Community Baptist Church and visiting for the first time with, interestingly enough, five of my friends who were Divine Nine. So it was two Kappas, an AKA, a Delta. Um, they took me to St. Paul Community Baptist Church, and the first thing I saw was a sea of women in white dancing on the pulpit, and they were praise dancing, and it was the most beautiful thing I had ever seen.
Mm,
And I was like, I want to do that. I had some knee issues from playing tennis when I was younger, that my doctor was like, you just need to like not consider any sports or anything like that. So
mm,
physically, I was not supposed to be doing anything, athletic at all. But at this age, I was probably in my mid 20s. And when I saw them, I'm like, that's what I'm going to do. And I joined the dance ministry. My knees were killing me, but I didn't give up. Like, my spirit just said, go. Every time they had rehearsal, go. And it was hard. I wore big orthopedic braces on my knees, but it was not by accident. It was not just a coincidence. There were so many professional dancers at that church already. They just sort of drove, they just were in droves in there. And there were a lot of productions that were happening. And so I was at the right place at the right time, just the way God planned it. And I learned from all these dancers. Dancers have the best bodies. And so I was learning to become a personal trainer so I could heal my knees. And they were like, we can one up that. We can show you what we do. So between getting my becoming a personal trainer, quitting my corporate jobs at MTV and all of those places, and becoming a personal trainer and getting trained with the dancers, I learned to dance, and had some amazing, unimaginable dance experiences that I don't even think that, they just seem very impossible, but it was God's plan.
wow. Wow. I'm just in awe of how God has chess pieced just the
Totally.
circumstances, and I don't pretend to know them all, but what I do know, it's amazing. And it all makes sense now. It all makes sense. I all right, so this particular upcoming stars is the first time that you're focusing on members of the Divine Nine.
Yes.
And as a member of the Divine Nine, I'm gonna be in the house. So y'all get you
Yes.
something with some feathers on it, because your girl is gonna be there.
Yes.
Yes, I'm excited. So I mean, where did that idea come from?
You know, I I plan to do it. So our last event was, the 14th annual Stars of New York Dance, which was in 2023, and we've never missed a year. So we've gone from 2010 to 2023. And my mom had a heart issue, in 2024. So scratch the event. My family is most important. But during that time, we had always just had an event where different community leaders participate. And I had started to think of different themes, like, oh, the doctors of New York dance, oh, the investment bankers of New York dance. And I was like, you know what? After watching how the Divine Nine supported Kamala Harris, and it just reminded me of your desire and your ability to serve. The Divine Nine their service organizations, and you guys have shown up for so many organizations and so many causes. And I was like, I need to celebrate the Divine Nine, and so that's really how it started. And it was so interesting that it brought me back to when I learned to dance when I first went to St. Paul, that I was with two Kappas, a Delta and an AKA. We are still friends today. And it was just kind of like, almost paying homage to them for even bringing me to the place where I would learn dance and where my life would change.
Wow. So this year is going to kind of be a full circle moment
Yep.
as it relates to your journey. I love it. And I'm just glad that I will be there to experience that and
Yeah.
to just watch God blow your minds. Yes. All right. So your Divine Nine dance off partners, right? I know you can't tell me who they are, and so I won't ask, but those partners have been partnered with prominent leaders, right, from historically Black fraternities and sororities. So you have leaders, right?
Yes. I could tell
From
you who they are.
oh, I thought you said you couldn't tell
No, I
who the
can.
dancers are.
Yeah, we have the flyer is out. Everything is out.
Oh,
We're celebrating everybody. So, I mean, I can share a few.
okay.
Um, so one I'm really proud of. I have not talked to this brother since Syracuse. Robert Chappelle. He is an Alpha Phi Alpha. He
Yay!
is dancing. I had not talked to Rob since we graduated, or Nicole. I saw
Wow.
Nicole maybe up at Syracuse 2 years ago when I was visiting Zion, my son.
And
But
she's a Divine Nine member as
yeah,
well.
yes,
Wow.
she's an AKA. And
Mhm.
so I needed an alpha. And I was like, would he pick? I don't even have his phone number or their phone number, their family number. And I was like, I wonder if I can get him on Facebook Messenger. And I don't even use it. And I did it. And he responded. And I was like, I need you to dance. And he was like, what? I was like, I need you to dance. And that's really how it goes with just about everybody. Like, if they don't know the event, it's just sort of this, hi, I need you to dance. And then they're like, okay, what are you talking about, Cheryl? And so that's how it goes. So that's one. I am so excited. I always love when preachers dance because that's not what people always expect, but Reverend Dr. Adolphus C. Lacey from Bethany Baptist Church in Brooklyn. I love it when elected officials dance. We have Assemblywoman Latrice Walker from Brooklyn. We have a number of people. I'll save the rest. We have
And
one more.
what organization does she represent?
She's an Assemblywoman, New York State Assemblywoman.
Right, but
So
which D9 organization?
she is Zeta Phi Beta.
Okay,
Yes,
okay.
Zeta Phi
C5B
Beta.
in the house.
Yes, and
I'm waiting for one special organization. I'm waiting. I'm
oh, let me
waiting.
just get to that one then.
Get to that.
Colette V. Smith is from Delta Sigma Theta, and she's an honorary Delta. So I
Awesome.
learned about honoraries, and so
Mhm.
she is the NFL's first Black female coach.
Wow.
She's amazing. So
Wow.
we have the 9 stars that are going to blow your mind and going to blow mine. Like they're blowing their own minds actually,
I'm so
be-
sure.
because this is not what they do. Um, Even Colette danced as a child, but she's like that was 40 years ago, you
Wow.
know. And so this is exciting to her. Like she's just like the opportunity to do something different. It's really special to her. She just wrote a children's book, so she has a passion for children. She has a nonprofit that she helps motivate and empower youth. Let me just say the name. It is Believe in You.
Mm.
That's the name of the nonprofit. And so everyone on this uh, uh, dance list this year, they are educators. Basically, they have a passion for children. Even we have the city council, councilwoman Rita Joseph. She is the chair of the education committee. So it's like dance and education to me have always been one, and this lineup proves it. Everyone has worked or works intentionally with children.
Wow. Wow. Look at
Yeah,
God. Just
yeah,
all up in it from the very beginning.
all up in
From the
it.
very beginning. I
Yes.
love that. I love that. Okay, so what skill set must a non for profit leader master effectively to build bridges between highly visible and established communities and visionaries? Okay, so let me say it again. What skill set must a non not for profit leader master to effectively build bridges between highly visible established communities and a visionary cause like yours?
You know, I you have to be fearless, but in a you just have to be fearless, and fearless doesn't mean not having fear, which sounds like it's an oxymoron, but that's really what it is. You have to be fearless with your fear. Like you have to look it in the face, sleep on it when you feel that way, and then just get back up and try it again. Cecily, you have had such an impactful um, you've impacted my life in a major way, in
Mm,
many ways, but
mm,
especially getting me to Essence Magazine. So you were the conduit. You were the one that said there's a job opening. And I was
mm,
like, but it's in HR and I'm in marketing. You were like, girl, take that job. And that was the best thing that you ever told me.
mm,
I just, this past weekend, I went to a tribute in memory of Clarence Smith, who was the president of Essence. He passed away earlier this year. And Ed Lewis, who was the publisher, Ed Lewis, I used to open his mail when his assistants weren't there. I was an HR coordinator, and when they were gone, I would get a chance to open his mail and sit and talk with him. All the other assistants were like, "You had that was a chance to you," and I was like, "Yeah, that's exciting." He talked to me and imparted wisdom in ways that I will never forget.
mm,
And being at Essence was just amazing. At the tribute to Clarence, his wife Elaine was there and talked about how Clarence came home one day and was really excited. And he was like, I just met up with some gentlemen. They were young, maybe in their late mid 20s or 30s, and they were going to venture into women's publishing a women's magazine. And Elaine was like, well, that sounds exciting. That's great. Are the men that you met with, have they ever published, or what have they published? And he was like, no, they've never published anything. So she like paused and was like, okay, so do they know people that published the magazine? And he was like, no, you know, and in that moment, she could sense that there was like, okay, am I doing the right thing? But
mm,
he was so committed in the face of his own fear.
mm,
And that's the stock that I come from. That's the legacy. Clarence and Ed and Susan, they were not my biological family, but
mm,
I'm telling you, when I sat in that tribute this Saturday, I realized why I was there. Everything that I learned from them over the years and other leaders that I've worked for, but particularly the three of them, Susan was there as well. All of that stuff trickled in and through and up and down and has been like the foundation of the idea of having a vision, feeling the fear, and doing it anyway. I'm not a typical dancer. I haven't trained like the best of them. I wasn't even into events. I just sort of took this vision that God gave me, and literally, it was God's idea. It was
mm,
not anything I was thinking about.
mhm,
And I just felt this tugging at me, like, you've got to do this. And I had enough experience of what it can do for people who engage in dance from the church, and my own experiences winning awards just because I became really creative after dancing, that I got to do this and I got to figure it out. And what I love about being fearless is that other people jump right in.
mm,
So that first year, I really was kind of stumped on what to do, until I flipped the channels and saw Dancing with the Stars. That gave me a blueprint,
mhm,
but then I had to figure out how to make it live. And so that was adding the component of it benefiting children, getting a community leaders to dance, putting our spin on it. It's going to showcase and feature our culture, our flavor.
mhm,
And I reached right out to Susan Taylor, who was like, what do you need me to do? I reached out to then Councilwoman Letitia James, who I had
Mm,
worked with a little bit at the nonprofit I worked at. And she was like, "I bet I'm in. What do you need me to do?" I reached out to Colvin Granham, who was the president and CEO of Bedford Stuyvesant Restoration Corporation, and I only met him one time before, and I was like, he's the head of an organization that supports the arts. They have a youth arts academy within their programming. And when I asked him, he was like, "Are you kidding me?" And so my fearlessness had to match and encourage their fear of it, and I had to like transform their fear into "I'm down." And that's really what happened.
okay. So the skill set, if I were to summarize what you just said, was to be fearless.
Yeah,
That's the skill set. And which doesn't mean that you actually don't have fear or feel fear.
yeah,
But it sounds like you lean into the relationships
right,
that you have and you ask for help,
yeah,
which does, I heard you talk about how humbling it is to ask for help. But you talked about being driven by love.
hmm,
And I think that's so important, to be driven by love. I think love will override any fear that someone has, particularly when we're doing it for someone beyond ourselves, which you are. So I'm inspired by everything that you've said. I do want to pause though and just ask you a question, because at the top of the segment, I always um, want to know where people are. So, my question to the audience is whether you are a one. Where are you on the spectrum as it relates to leaning into your community and asking for help when you need it? So, drop a one if you're a lone wolf. If you say to yourself, I can do it by myself, right? If that's what you say to yourself, I'm embarrassed to ask, or I'm not going to let anybody into my business, or you can't trust these people out here. Maybe you've been hurt at some point, and so you would rather do it by yourself. Or a number five, where you're healed and you understand the power of community and accountability, and you have no problems doing what Cheryl did, which is to reach out for support with a vision, right? Because it takes a village to birth a vision. It takes a village. So, where are you? Drop it in the chat. If you drop a number one, and Cheryl, you're really good at this. This was something that I needed to be healed from, in terms of asking for help, in terms
mm,
of, really understanding the power of community. I was a lone wolf, and it had a lot to do with wounds, right? Which typically, if you're a lone wolf, it
yeah,
has to do with some wounds. Okay.
yeah,
So I didn't really I wasn't intentional about curating a village. I didn't really steward relationships all that well. I still struggle, to reach out and to stay connected. What would you say to the person who dropped a number one in the chat? The person who doesn't understand that it takes
mm,
a village to birth a vision. It took a village to get your vision off the ground
yeah.
and to sustain it for 15 years. What would you say to that lone wolf?
I'd say don't judge yourself. I can honestly say, Cecily, I can put tonight in the chat. If I was putting in two, I had to put two numbers. I could put a five and a one,
Mm,
for even just for the Stars of New York dance, because there are things that I freely delegate. But then there are aspects of it that I am loaning that wolf. I am a lone wolf in it,
mm,
and I have to stop. I can see myself in both areas,
mm,
not in stars, in life, in relationships. And so I accept both. I'm
mm,
grateful for the five. I
mm,
see that one and know I have to move that one up a little bit, but
mm.
don't be hard on yourself.
I love that.
Um, you will, you will get there. You open up a little bit, even to yourself, and just say, it's really just admitting to yourself, like, I know that I'm a one.
Yeah.
I'm a one. Okay, I'm a
Mhm.
one. And once you identify and you can say that and accept it, then how could I get to a two? Or what's
Yeah,
making me a one?
so good.
What's
Mhm.
making me a one? How could I get to a 1.5?
Mhm.
Baby steps.
Ooh, so good.
Baby steps.
So good. That's grace
Yeah,
right there. That is grace. And I love how you're saying two things can be true
it's for me.
because
Yeah,
it can be contextual. I might be a 5 in terms of being comfortable asking for help in one area of my life, but a 1 in another area of my life based on the wound, based on the
yeah,
degree that I've been able to name it and tame it,
yeah.
right? I can't tame or I can't deal with something that I
I
won't
don't
name, that I won't acknowledge.
acknowledge, right?
Yes. And so when I name the fact that, I'm lone wolfing it, I've experienced some pain in this area. And so I need to tame it with the word of God
Yeah,
that says, declares that I am healed, that says that he places the lonely in the midst of family, that talks about the power of community, that says that we should not forsake the assembling of ourselves. And I
yeah.
don't believe that just relates to church on a Sunday morning or
No,
whatever day you worship. So it's only to the degree that I name it that I can tame it
yeah.
with something. So I love how you said that and how you are giving yourself grace. So this has been amazing. Before I let you go, I have a couple more questions. Is that all
Sure.
right?
Absolutely.
All right, so this is known as my hot seat question, girl.
Oh, girl.
So buckle up. Okay, so here goes the hot seat question. If you had to personally enter the Divine Nine Dance Off competition right now, right? Like somebody put you on the little program and
Lord.
you had to get out there and bust a move. Which famous move from the electric slide to the
Ah,
Macarena would you be would
ah,
be your guaranteed winning signature move of all time? Which one would you immediately and
ah.
so which move, that's your move, and then which move would you have to delegate?
Which move? So I love salsa dance.
Okay.
So now, did you want me to choose from between the Macarena or whatever, or just
Yeah, what
anything?
is it? The bachata, the
Uh,
macarena?
just salsa. Like I was learning a few years ago, but I love it. It's the sexiest. It's like it's so feminine. It's just I love it. So that's what I would do. Whether I did it well or not, I would make it look good. Period. So
And which
that's
move
it.
would you delegate?
Woo, I would delegate swing dance. I love it, but I listen. I'm at the age where I may not be able to swing that leg up the way I need to, so I'm gonna delegate that one to a
He
younger
like, get
one.
over here, Granny. Yup. We're calling the double.
Right. Okay, one of the younger ones come out here and swing this leg up.
Cheryl, this has been an amazing conversation. You have dropped some gems, you have imparted wisdom. Here's what I want to know. What is next? Where can people find you? Tell them all about the upcoming 15th, yes,
Yes.
15th annual event.
Anniversary.
Yes,
Yeah.
anniversary.
So the 15th anniversary Divine Nine Dance Off is Friday, November 14th. It's at the City Tech Theater, the theater at City Tech in downtown Brooklyn, 275 J Street. You can go to Eventbrite and find us, or you can go to our website, nydance.org, and you can purchase your tickets. It's going to be a blast. I can't tell you how excited I am. There are other special performances. We have a phenomenal homecoming tribute for Lori Cumbo, who is our commissioner, Lori Cumbo, who is our three-time dance competitor and two-time dance champion. So she's competed three times. People love this event that much and they love the mission of it that I couldn't imagine competing three times, but she was like, sign me up. And there are other people have done it twice. And it's a really great way to, it's a really great way to learn how you can serve.
Mm,
You can see other leaders. And what I like most, I think my favorite thing about the event, because sometimes I'm someone who likes to look and watch people have a good time. Like I've always loved to do that. I love to see the audience's expressions, but I love to see the children, that we have children in the balcony who we give complimentary seats